What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of VCCLive. This is episode 28. Guidance from the Blind states, when keeping it real goes wrong. You guys might appreciate that reference. That's a Dave Chappelle skit. We're going to be talking about battery safety and if you're stupid, how you shouldn't use, and I mean stupid in the kindest possible way, how you shouldn't use MacLeods. Yeah, I kind of have a little bit of a headache tonight, so I'll probably be a little quieter. I say that. Probably won't happen, but I'll try. How have you guys been? What's been going on, Jay? How's your week? I see you got your Patriots gear.
Yeah. Patriots are in the AFC Championship game once again, sixth time in a row. We're playing at some point this weekend, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
That's a true fan right there. We're playing some point this weekend.
Somebody get me the schedule. I think it's Sunday.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that makes
Sunday.
sense. You know, NFL's usually on Sunday.
1 to 6. Well, no, during the playoffs they play Saturday too. I'm doing beer tonight. I'm not doing bourbon.
I got my flavored water. I'm not drinking. I've had eight.
Stella.
Mm-hmm. Nick, how's things? You're going on a trip or something, right? Later.
I'm sorry. I'm broadcasting from a potato tonight. I can't hear anything.
I said, how are things? You're going on a trip, right?
Yeah, we're going to Las Vegas. It's Pickle's 30th birthday, so we're going to go to Las Vegas. Ruby and Josh are coming down. We're just going to hang out. We're going to have dinner with the local vape crew one of the nights. We're going to go see Britney Spears one of the nights. And then I think we're going to actually watch the Patriots football sports team game as well. I'm not a football guy, but both Casey and Ruby Roo dislike Bill Belichick so much that they just want to watch so that hopefully the Patriots lose. So you have that going against you, Jay. Sorry.
That's okay. I've gotten Ruby drunk before, so it'll all even out.
It all evens out. Good.
Very cool.
Were they playing again? Pittsburgh?
I forget. Yeah, I think so. Yes,
I forget.
Yes,
we're really exposing your fair weather fan.
You're called the.
I just like the fashion.
You've heard of rhinos, right? Republicans in name only.
Yeah,
you're a pino.
Actually, I am. I'm like in my grade school days, I was a big Washington Redskins fan. And I actually have a Washington Redskins.
That was like in the 1960s when they were good. I'm just kidding.
80s and 90s. And they won in 91. So.
They were good under Joe Gibbs. Matt, how are you? How's things? What's going on in Montana?
Pretty fabulous. Same old. Pumping out videos. That's basically now that we have the second channel doing that 3 times a week too, I feel like that's all I'm ever doing.
I don't know how you guys do it.
Very cool. We got a lot of awesome people in the chat tonight. If you're watching live, make sure you smash that like button, please, and share this link. If you haven't shared the link yet in your social media outlets, please do that now while we're still at the beginning of the broadcast. Maybe some people might like to join in. We have Battery Mooch with us again tonight. This is becoming a thing, Mooch.
Nice. Solid.
Awesome.
Welcome
to everyone in chat. We appreciate you guys coming out, and we hope that you have some good commentary in the chat. We'll try to keep up with it, which Jay usually does. I also try to as well, but we have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, so we'll try to get through it. We do actually have advocacy this week. It's not just 4 guys opining.
Although that was fun too.
That was really fun, yeah.
But it says something that we had to end the show 10 minutes early.
We didn't actually, though. After we all said and done, it was only a few minutes early.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we got kind of nasty or something.
Yeah,
I vaguely remember
YouTube
that.
sent me a warning, like they were going to ban us too many resting bitch faces for too long. So, so we got to make sure we keep, at least smile every so often. All right, so I'm going to try to do this without 2 monitors. It's kind of hard looking at different screens. I'm just taking for granted that you guys are checking it out here. So the first thing is guidance from the blind. And what we're going to talk about is a few different things that came out recently from the FDA. There was some guidance for vape shops, what they can and can't do to not be considered a manufacturer, and having to register, and also on free samples. So let me figure out how to do this really quickly here. Full monitor, we get some feedback, of course. So I'll post these links in the description, but this one is interpretation of and compliance policy for certain label requirement, applicability of certain federal food, drug, and cosmetic act requirements to vape shops. If you click the link, you come to this PDF, and the bulk of the material that matters for vape shops looks like it's on page 10. So 9 and 10. Yeah, so 9. And it gives some examples of what the clarification is in the guidance on this document. If a vape shop refills a closed system ends for a customer, the vape shop would be required to seek pre-market application, submit ingredient list, HPHC reports, and health documents in accordance with Section 904, yada, yada. If a vape shop repairs or modifies an atomizer head, and the modification is outside the marketing authorization order, the vape shop would be required to seek pre-market authorization, submit ingredient list, etc. If a vape shop replaces the coils in an ends product that was on the market as of August 8, 2016, but does not yet have marketing authorization order with coils that have a different ohm and or wattage rating, the vape shop would be required to seek pre-market application, submit an ingredient list, etc., etc. So, and then we go down here. I'm just going to skip over some stuff. If you guys want to read it in detail, you certainly can do that. I'll post a link. Number 2 says activities that do not modify the product. If the vape shop does not modify the tobacco product, the shop would not be required to obtain pre-market authorization. To the extent that the vape shop would be required to comply with the ingredient listing, HPHC reporting, and health document submission requirements, blah, 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 as well as registering. The FDA does not intend to enforce these requirements if the tobacco product is not modified. Examples: if a vape shop demonstrates or explains the use of an ends product without assembling the product, including by providing instruction designed to assist users on the correct use of the product, the vape shop would not be required to seek pre-market authorization. If a vape shop maintains an ends product by cleaning or tightens fixtures, e.g. screws, to the extent that the vape shop would be subject to the requirements of ingredient listing, et cetera, FDA does not intend to enforce those requirements. If a vape shop replaces the coils in an ends product with identical coils, e.g. same ohm and wattage rating, to the extent that the vape shop would be subject to the requirements, yada yada, FDA does not intend to enforce those requirements. If a vape shop assembles the final product from the components or parts packaged together in an ends kit, or from components and parts sold individually from multiple kits of the final product, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so anyway, you get the gist of what they're talking about here. Let's go back over.
Is someone getting bombed right now?
Nick,
I'm sorry. Did you hear the
I think your plane is leaving. Yeah.
Yeah.
In my headphones, it literally sounded like a war zone for a second there.
That's not the first time I've heard that. I'll close my window.
That's
Mad Max is
Don't worry about
outside.
It
and
gives
I'll
us
just shut
something
it.
interesting to listen to.
Literally
Besides-
every 8 minutes or so, you're going to hear a plane land
Oh,
because I live right by the airport.
You're
So
probably just used to it now, huh?
yeah, we have about 5 minutes, and then you can change it.
About it. Yeah, go
So
ahead.
I
Just
know
talk.
that I think Nick talked about this. We'll wait for him to get back real quick in a second. Have you guys seen that this week? Have you seen any discussion on it?
Yeah, certainly. I have one thing to say.
Yeah, I know Nick talked about this, I think, in his vlog from today. So obviously he's researching. But Jay, what did you want to?
Well, first of all, just by and large, what I've been saying all along, unenforceable, especially at the vape shop level.
Yep.
Completely unenforceable. However, what they're saying, and Nick, I'm diverging a little bit from what your opinion was today on your vlog. Say you have a Nautilus coil, or a Nautilus tank. The Nautilus tank is designed to work with multiple different ohm coils. I fully believe that the FDA would not consider you a tobacco manufacturer if you were to use a different coil that was still designed by the Nautilus folks to work in that tank. Like if somebody wanted to go from a 1.6 to a 1.8, or all they had in stock were 1.8s and you used to use a 1.6.
Right.
Nobody's going to get jacked up.
I mean, yeah. Of course not. I'm just going by what they said, and they say different resistances.
Right.
They say resistance.
But they say e.g. different resistances. Which,
right. Example, different resistances.
For example, different resistances. But that doesn't mean that just because it's different resistances, we're going to come close you down.
Right.
But I mean, there are so many different levels and facets to these stupid, regulations that come out and the guidance that comes out.
Yeah.
It goes back to the old adage, how many times a day does the average person, break a federal law,
Yeah.
and how many of us get arrested for it or get fined for it, It's an absolute minuscule amount. And this stuff, by and large, is completely unenforceable. They're going to concentrate on the manufacturers, the real manufacturers. That's where they're going to shut us down. If a vape shop gets a warning from the FDA or one of their thugs, stop doing that. But
Sure.
they're not just gonna walk into your shop and say, "Oh, you changed a coil. We're shutting you down."
Yeah. Well, then, like you said, there's no way it's unenforceable. They can't. There's no way they can enforce it. And as far as breaking federal laws every day, I was breaking state laws just yesterday. I was speeding in my car, and I got away with it. And that's something that they're actively enforcing, like with paid police officers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how can they possibly enforce it? Answer is they can't. And not only can they not enforce it, but it shows, again, how super out of touch they are. Like different resistances. That's a hell-worthy trespass is different resistances.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And Mooch says it not being allowed and it possibly not being enforced are two different things. Yes, of course they are. I mean, that's the caveat, isn't it? But that's I've lived on this earth a long time, and one thing I've learned is that government officials and government regulations are 99% PR and 1% truth.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I mean, you'd think they'd have at least some plan of enforcing some, like trying to make a few examples or something.
They very well may. They very well may. But they would have to go after, as far as vape shops go, they would have to go after the most prolifically out there, the ones with the most social media presence kind of thing. And those are the ones that are going to most likely err more on the side of caution anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's been ridiculous from day one for the vaping industry to contract so much as it has over the past almost year.
Mm-hmm. And also, don't take anything I have to say as meaning we shouldn't fight this.
Right.
Obviously, we should still fight this. I'm trying to, calm the masses, so to speak, into, free, so that they don't freak out because, they can't help some old lady that walked into their store that can't figure out how to screw in her freaking Nautilus.
Right.
Yeah, I think that the FDA with their guidance that they issue every so often, it's kind of like a war strategy for vaping versus the FDA and the government. They throw out a little bone every now and then, and we get sidetracked on it and eat it up for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we lose track of the real thing that we should be focusing on, which is changing the predicate date. Fuck all this bullshit. Petty bullshit. No one's going to go out and check your shop and see if you're helping a disabled person change a coil, or even somebody who doesn't know. Maybe they're completely, able and an intelligent person. They just don't have the knowledge, or they just started vaping and they don't know about changing coils or filling tanks. Stop getting caught on the minuscule bullshit, guys. We got to keep focused on the main thing, which is changing the predicate date. If they keep throwing us bones and we keep getting sidetracked with it for weeks on end, and we're not doing what we should be doing, which is working on getting the predicate date changed. I mean, they're just toying with us, and we fall for it hook, line, and sinker every fucking time they throw out one of these.
Well, yeah, I mean, every time they do one of their clarifications, it's like it just opens a whole nother can of worms.
Yep, absolutely. That's by design.
Right, I know it is by design, and we're sitting here hanging on their every word. Fuck that. Keep doing what we're doing. Grow so big that they can't shut us down. Convert so many people to from smoking to vaping that they can't shut us down. That's what we should be focusing on.
I've talked to a few fairly large companies out there that manufacture and are vape shops, and I don't know how good of advice this is, but if some of them have told me that their lawyers have told them to just go about, like you said, go do what you're doing, wait until something happens, like continue creating products even, and just wait and see. Wait until something happens.
Because it's they're not going to shut you down overnight. They're gonna issue warnings. I mean, that's my feeling. They're going to issue
in every aspect of the law. There's got to be a test case. I mean, even if the government comes out with a new law, it doesn't mean that it's a valid and enforceable law. There's got to be something to take it through the court system and the legal system, and have the judges base it on precedent.
right. But who's going to be that guinea pig?
I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, everyone just needs to keep doing what they're doing. I don't know. I mean, if someone is, I'm sure the vaping community would get behind them and support them, help fund it.
Yeah, that's a risky proposition.
Or what? What's the other end of the risk? Jay?
Oh, I mean, we go through that all the time in Massachusetts with weird firearms diktats. Like, who's going to be the one to potentially face a 10-year prison sentence in order, to just stand up to the Attorney General? I'm not going to raise my hand. I have a family to freaking provide for, and it can cost millions of dollars just to win a court case. It can cost millions and millions of dollars to win a court case against the government. So, it's just a tough prospect.
It is a tough prospect, but that's kind of how we have lost our Americanism over the past 250 years, because it was someone in our founding fathers' history that said, you know what, fuck it, I don't care if I die. I'm standing up and we're not taking this bullshit anymore.
Yeah.
And
no, you're absolutely right.
That's the way it works.
Absolutely right.
You got to get to a point where you say, I'm fucking sick of it. Or, so what, I might go to jail. I mean, people did it during the civil rights movement. During every time in our history when there's been an injustice against the masses, someone had to say, you know what, I'm willing to be that person. You want to take me to court, sue me.
Most of them were single and had no children, though.
Yeah, I'm sure we have.
And what's that saying? It's too late to work within the system, but it's too early to shoot the bastards.
Yeah.
Well, but like you said, though, most likely it's a warning first. So it's like,
that's my personal belief, is that shops just aren't going to get shut down overnight. At least not over the next couple of years. After that, you never know, but over the next couple of years, you'll get warnings.
What's most likely going to happen is that you're going to have some shops that are going to really tighten it up at first. It's just human nature. Mm-hmm. And then once everyone sees, 6 months, a year down the road, oh, they haven't enforced it with anyone, then they'll slowly loosen up and people just won't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I've already seen that here in Mass with a lot of the shops that I work with. They've a lot of them had really tightened up for a while. Like, they literally, I'd be in their shop and a customer would go to hand them their mod, and they'd put their hands up in the air and say, "Whoa, I can't touch that," kind of thing. And now it's a lot more kind of, all right, give me that,
Yeah.
Well, it's just like with anything, like breaking any law. You're speeding. First time you speed, you're all paranoid. Then you're like, I didn't get in trouble. I didn't get in trouble the last time.
Right.
And then after you get that $300 ticket, you go 48 miles an hour for the next 6 months, and then you're like,
yeah, and then you slowly loosen up again.
Unless you're Grim Green and you speed all over San Diego.
Yeah.
Speed all over, bro.
You give
YOLO.
$0.
YOLO.
Yeah, no fucks given.
# eat a dick. Okay. So the next piece of brilliant information that the FDA put out, let me go back over to full monitor. Prohibition of distributing free samples of tobacco products. This guidance is intended to help tobacco product manufacturers, distributors, and retailers understand the prohibition of distributing free samples of tobacco products set forth in Title 21, et cetera, et cetera. So if you click the link here, it takes you to this PDF. And again, I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's about 10 pages long. You can go through it if you would like to. This is draft, not for implementation. So is the other one, by the way. They're drafts, not for implementation. So they're not even in force yet, but they're drafts, as far as I can tell and see from reading this information. But they're just going through some clarifications here about what you can and can't do with free tobacco products. And the gist of it that I got from reading through this stuff is you can do coupons and discounts and stuff. So I'll just read you some examples. The free sample ban does not prohibit manufacturers, distributors, and retailers from selling tobacco products at a discount or accepting coupons that allow consumers to purchase tobacco products at a discount. Promotions such as selling tobacco products at 10% off the regular price or coupons that take dollars or cents off the purchase price of a tobacco product are not prohibited. Promotions such as buy one, get one free at the time of purchase or 2 for the price of 1 are also examples of non-prohibited discounts because they represent 50% discount off the sales price of 2 tobacco products, et cetera, et cetera. So they're saying that you can do that. You can what they're saying that you can't do is you can never have a separate, like you can't say buy one now and the next time you come in you get a free bottle or whatever. But you can do punch cards and stuff that keep track of it as long as it's the same thing. And I don't know. Membership and rewards programs that provide discounts to tobacco product purchasers are also not prohibited by the free sample ban as long as they do not result in distribution of tobacco products outside of a tobacco product sales transaction, subject to minimum age and ID requirements. So again, you can have this rewards program, but and membership program, as long as it doesn't present the opportunity for someone to not present their age or ID requirements, and you can't verify that they're, I guess, over the age of 18 by federal law anyway. For example, if a retailer offered a rewards program in which consumers receive every 10th vial of e-liquid for free, vial of e-liquid, that's what we call it there, FDA, good job. The retailer would not be prohibited from distributing the free, quote-unquote, e-liquid as part of a tobacco product sales transaction, e.g., with the ninth e-liquid purchase or with the 11th e-liquid purchase, but it could not distribute a free vial of liquid to consumers outside of a tobacco product sales transaction, blah, blah, blah. So you can't just give away stuff for free. I guess the point is, as long as there's some transaction where the person's been identified and carded and age verified or whatever, then it's okay to continue, to do that with them. But you can't have something, again, I don't know when you would do that, when you would have a membership or rewards program where you wouldn't ID somebody, but I don't know.
Albert has asked us to read 165 to 175 a few times. Apparently there's some importance there. I'm not sure what they are.
So this one on page 7, I hope. Unlike other restrictions that the deeming rule expanded to include only covered tobacco products, quote unquote, deemed tobacco products made or derived from tobacco, or provisions that FDA intends at this time to enforce only against finished tobacco products, quote unquote, the free sample ban applies to all tobacco products that are subject to FDA's tobacco product authority, even if they are not made or derived from tobacco. This means that the free sample ban prohibits manufacturers, distributors, and retailers from giving out free samples of any tobacco product that is subject to FDA's tobacco product authorities, including components and parts of tobacco products such as atomizers, clearizers, and e-liquids. This is an important restriction because components and parts of some tobacco products, such as aerosoling apparatus of e-cigarettes, can be the most expensive part of a tobacco product. If minors can obtain the most expensive components or parts of tobacco products as free samples, they face less significant barriers to using tobacco products. Mm-hmm. Okay, so overall, what I got from it was, as long as there aren't individual free products going out, not in connection with a sale, it seems like it would be okay to do. And again, this is draft guidance. This is not finalized yet. And apparently also, you couldn't go around giving out Nautilus tanks to anybody because the Nautilus tank would still be deemed a tobacco product and a free sample of prohibition.
You can't just start chucking Nautilus coils out your car window and saying, come to my shop. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Well, and this is for business owners, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, this only applies to businesses.
Right, but that would apply to me, technically, since I run a business and Grim Green is an LLC.
There's no case law.
I think that's a tough one.
It is a tough one because when you're doing your channel, I don't see you as Nick Green, owner of yada yada yada. I see you as Grim Green, the guy who helped to teach me how to vape.
Sure.
Maybe if you're promoting your business in the same video or saying, check out we have a new line or we have new hats on our site or something. I don't know. It's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. But I think case law comes into play there, and there is none.
Yeah, how is this enforceable? It's not. It's enforceable a little bit, but if I take a bunch of vape shit, like we're going to Las Vegas and I'm bringing some stuff for Ruby, then that's a free sample that I'm giving her.
Right.
Well,
that's
illegal. Technically, she
law.
owns a business, so you're giving it from business to business, which is not covered in this. So that's a bad example.
But 90% of vapors own a business in vaping anyway. So
yeah,
premium e-liquid line.
I don't know. Yeah. That's so dumb. They can't enforce it.
We'll see. No, but here's the other thing, which I don't think we really touched on earlier. I think what they're hoping happens, and we've always known this, is that there will be a huge consolidation in the industry. And if there are only 5 companies left in the entire industry, if we don't get that predicate date changed, then all these regulations are completely enforceable because there's only 5 people left.
Right.
Yeah.
They could,
Well, and like we've said before,
they could audit them every week.
like we've said before, they're trying to mindfuck everybody before they even enforce anything too, to get some of these, already pick some of these people off and thin the herd a little bit. I mean, and it's worked.
It absolutely has worked.
I mean, you got big companies that are saying they're not gonna, or they're gonna stop doing this or stop selling that or shut their doors or stop not expand now, and it's like I've said before. I mean, the mental part of this all is what has affected us the most so far. I mean, the just people's mindset. The market is uneasy.
It becomes less and less fun. And that's both because of the pending regulations and the fact that this has become, such a big subculture, and subcultures always eventually just kind of fizzle out and die. How many people go to raves anymore?
They're still a thing, dude. It's more
still a thing. Are they still a thing? But do people still listen to trance?
Sure.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to what I said for the last proposed information that they put out as well. I mean, it's just a way to get our eye off the ball. I mean, I just think that we need to not be distracted. We need to maintain a laser-like focus, and that is change the predicate date, change the predicate date, change the predicate date.
Agreed.
So
agreed.
Wait, what are we changing again?
The predicate date.
The predicate date, Matt.
I'm gonna get the predicate. Change the predicate date, just tattooed on my forehead.
I named my cat Predicate Date.
Just so you'd remember.
Yeah. That's amazing.
All right, so I think we spent enough time on the FDA's proposed guidance and their very helpful information. Bullshit. So let's move on, and we're going to talk about a couple of other things, some state issues that have come up recently. I think that this one is from Indiana. Let's go to full monitor. This is from Indiana. GOP leaders pledge vape law overhaul subject of FBI probe. Republican state house leaders say they want to unwind stiff regulations that they imposed on Indiana's vaping industry last year, which created a monopoly for one security firm. Wonder who said that ahead of time. The vaping industry, maybe? The move comes after the FBI launched a probe into the matter and has interviewed several GOP lawmakers. Lafayette-based, whatever that is, Mole Hops Inc., was the only company that was qualified to handle industry security permitting for producers of liquid used in vaping devices. The company approved only 6 companies to produce. Company president Doug Mulhop said in a statement that he cooperated with authorities. No one has been charged. Republican State Senator Randy Head said the state, not a private company, ought to be in charge of regulation. He is sponsoring a measure that will overhaul the law. So yeah, they are basically after they've already passed the legislation, and a year later, getting to the same point that we were trying to explain to them before they passed this stupid ass bad legislation to begin with.
Yeah.
What you guys think of that?
Welcome to government. It's good that they're trying to fix, what they've already destroyed. But they burned down the house, so they're trying to, I don't know, build a deck on that burnt down house. I don't know. Like, I mean, the industry there is destroyed at this point. There are some hangers on, some people that toughed it out, some people that hope that enforcement, again, there's that word, enforcement wouldn't be strong. And I don't think enforcement has been. I haven't heard much about enforcement.
Well, I think over 100. There used to be 160. No, I forget how many it was. There used
Indiana was a trailblazer for vaping. Back in the day, back in 2010, 2011, back then they were one of the first big markets for vaping. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's well over 100 vaping industry businesses shut down by this very, very detrimental and bad legislation, and it just goes
Yeah.
to show you that you have to get involved at the state level. You have to educate your legislators because most of the times they pass legislation at the state level, they don't even know what they're voting on. Honestly, they're looking for recommendations from staff who have read the stuff that they haven't even read, and they're passing it, and then they get a fallout from it, and they're like, "Oh shit, what did we do? Now we have to go back and try to correct this." Well, guess what? You've already ruined hundreds of businesses, dumbasses. I mean,
Exactly.
it's too late for them to come back from that now, more than likely.
Yeah, they're done. Either they moved out or they've gone back to their jobs at Starbucks. I don't know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man.
Well, and I was reading it's going to take even longer. Like, this isn't something that they're going to be able to fix, like, even in just the next legislative session. I was reading that it could take up to 2 or 3 legislative sessions before they can even start to course correct everything that they fucked up.
Right.
And so it's a step in the right direction, but it's certainly not like a quick fix,
Right.
or something that's going to, I mean, it's going to take forever because of government bureaucracy.
Right. It's easier to prevent bad legislation than it is to repeal it and change it. It's just the way it is.
Amen.
We say it all the time, and it's always going to be true. So the next thing we had was a little snippet here from Maryland. And let's go back over here real quick. Again, all these links will be in the description of the replay when I post it up. So this is General Assembly of Maryland. In the Senate, hearing 2-2 at 1 p.m., requiring a person to have an appropriate license whenever the person acts in the state as an electronic nicotine delivery systems manufacturer, retailer, storage warehouse, vape shop vendor, or wholesaler, establishing license application procedures and fees, specifying the scope of the licenses, and providing for the renewal of a license. So, again, not going to read through the whole thing, but you can go through here and click if you want to see the text of this licensing. But apparently the state of Maryland is trying to institute in this upcoming legislative session licensing procedures. And again, this is, I think, the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to see in 2017, especially since the FDA deemed ENDS, or electronic nicotine delivery systems, or e-cigarettes, or whatever you want to call them, tobacco products. States are going to take that and run with it. So Maryland is saying, okay, FDA says these are tobacco products. Everyone that has anything to do with wholesaling or distributing or retailing these or manufacturing these in the state of Maryland will be required to have a license for that.
Mm-hmm. And in Massachusetts, different municipalities have already, they've been doing that for years, some of them. And frankly, they didn't have a legal leg to stand on, but at the same time, it probably costs between $2,500 and $5,000 to fight the $500 a year fee. What are you as a vape shop going to choose?
Right.
You're going to pay the fee. Right. You're going to jump through the few hoops that it is to become a licensed tobacco reseller or whatever. Mm-hmm. Without going into the specifics of this legislation, I just kind of see this as more of the same, more of what you're going to see across the nation.
Matt, you've been quiet lately. What do you think about that?
I'm just listening. I'm drinking it all in. I've been there's some stuff going on in my own state, and so I've been kind of reading about that today as well.
Well, before we move on, we have a few seconds. You want to fill us on what's going to happen in Montana, since I didn't put that up?
They're trying to pass an Indoor Air Act, but then just this week they have a new tax bill that they're trying to get through as well. So I had to get on a phone call as soon as this show's over and have a chat with one of the shop owners here. Yeah, but it's kind of tough because we don't have. I mean, there's a decent amount of vape shops here, but we just don't have a very organized deal, and no one's really stepping up to create any kind of organized business or trade association group.
Retail level taxes, like a per mil e-liquid tax, that kind of thing. That's really kind of a Trojan edge, Trojan edged horse, double-edged sword, Trojan horse.
Trojan edged horse.
Trojan edged horse or double-edged unicorn, whatever.
Wow.
No.
Shut up, Nick. No, I mean, pragmatically, a small per mil tax on e-liquid, I wouldn't have a problem with. The problem is what everybody like Demi and everybody has been saying. Once they get that foot in the door with e-liquid taxes, you're screwed. You are absolutely screwed.
You gave them a taste.
Now, e-liquid is 100% politicized.
Yep.
And we do not have the numbers in any state in the nation to fight a jump. And stop smiling, Nick.
That's actually one of the reasons I started Vista.
We don't have the numbers in any given state to fight any tax hike on e-liquid once that's imposed.
I mean, I will be shocked if it gets through in Montana. I'm more concerned about the indoor air because the way it started out being about schools, and then it has kind of snowballed since then.
Yeah.
That's the one that I think they have a better chance of getting through. But obviously they're all.
So it would be no vaping indoors with or without exceptions.
Well,
for
the
vape
bill
shops,
contradicts itself quite a bit. There's it starts out just talking about school grounds, and then there's some extra shit written in towards the end about other areas and other businesses and stuff. It's hard to explain. It doesn't make a lot of sense, like most bills.
Wow. Okay. So that was Maryland, and then we have.
I mean, you got to remember, most people in Montana can't even put together a whole sentence, including our legislators.
Oh, whoa.
Anywhere else I go, I'm pretty average. In Montana, I'm actually top 10%. And I can't put a sentence together well either.
All right, we're gonna go back over. In the last state we had to talk about was something I saw from New York. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not yet, but this is titled "You Vape, Bro? Cuomo Wants a Tax." The liquid used in e-cigarettes would soon be hit with a state tax if Governor Andrew Cuomo has his way. Cuomo on Tuesday proposed a 10-cent per milliliter tax on the liquid or gel in vaporizer pens and similar devices, which have grown in popularity in recent years as an alternative to traditional
I'm sorry, but gel?
Yeah,
We're bringing up gel
that's
again?
why I paused on that. I've never seen an e-liquid gel. I don't know what the fuck
But
it's on.
I've seen legislators talk about gel as much as they've talked about ghost guns. It's made up bullshit.
Yeah. The governor's vapor tax plan was tucked deep within his $152.3 billion state budget proposal, which he unveiled publicly late Tuesday night. His proposal goes further than just enacting a tax. It would also ban e-cigarette use on school grounds, in restaurants, and in workplaces where traditional cigarettes are currently banned. Quote unquote, "This is a matter of public health consistent with New York's longstanding and successful smoking cessation efforts," Cuomo spokesman Rich Azzopardi said in a statement Wednesday. If approved by state lawmakers, the state tax would apply whether the vapor product includes nicotine or not. It would take effect 180 days after the budget is passed. And then it goes on to keep saying more information about that. But you can see, again, how we've said at the end of last year, sorry about hitting my mic, at the end of last year and at the beginning of the first few episodes of this year, be prepared states, because guess what's coming for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's a prime example. 10 cents per mil tax, that's $3 on a 30 mil. The industry could certainly absorb that, but that's only the beginning.
They could, yeah. And even if they negotiate it down and say, 10 cents, okay, we'll go to 5. It's not this year that I'm worried about ever for states.
It becomes so much easier for them to look at that law and just say, all right, we're just going to line that out and turn it to 40 cents.
Yeah, I'll give you an example.
Budget.
Yeah.
When I started smoking, and this is the same thing that happened with cigarettes, it's going to happen with this if we allow it to continue to happen. First of all, it's a sin tax, and this is not a sin taxable product, in my opinion. It's a public health benefit. It's not something that's going to, cause future public health care costs to the government. which is the whole point of having sin tax. But they don't use it for that. It ends up going into their general fund, and they do whatever the fuck they want to with it. It's not something that they use to defray cost of public health care in the future for people who get sick from smoking. But anyway, when I started smoking in Florida, you could get a carton of Marlboros or Marlboro Lights or whatever for about $19. When I was away for a while for like 9 of those years of my adult life and came back in 2009. And that year they were enacting an additional, I mean, over the time that I'd been gone, a couple of times it had stepped up in price already, but they were enacting another $1 a pack tax on cigarettes. I think when I quit smoking in Florida here, a carton of cigarettes was around 45 or 50 bucks. So that just goes to show you how that little 10 cents per milliliter is going to eventually change into $1, $2, $3, $4 a milliliter over time, which is why you have to fight it and stop it from ever becoming a thing.
Well, states like New York are especially scary too. I mean, they want to sin tax everything. They're going to be, I bet you 10 years from now, they're going to be sin taxing carbs. Guaranteed. There's going to be a tax on carbohydrates.
And you know what?
That's
It was the government that made us. It was the government that made us overdo carbs to begin with.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. With the low fat diets.
Yeah,
It was them that started it all.
A little
Sorry,
has
I don't know where I was even going with that. I was just trying to give something to the conversation.
So yeah, if you live in New York and you're not part of an organization there that's going to try to combat this, please make sure you do something about it, because I'm telling you now, it's not going to stop at 10 cents. And also, you see how their sneaky little asses put things in like you can't vape in certain places where cigarettes are banned. Again, this is something that we're going to see more and more of from states over the coming year. And until we can get federal legislation to segregate vapor products away from tobacco products, this is what we're going to continue to see. So. Yeah. Any other discussion on that? Any comments in the chat? I haven't checked chat in a while, but
I mean, I think it's tough. I don't, in any scenario, I don't ever see us not getting taxed. I mean, not that we shouldn't fight it. I just feel like that's where it's going, especially once they realize, well, we can't regulate it out of existence, so we're going to fucking tax it. And
yep.
And that's why it's
battle forever.
That's why it's the double-edged horse, because once they're taxing us, then all of a sudden we become a part of their revenue. So maybe they'll actually listen to us a little more. So there might be a balance to be struck there, but I just don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't trust us as an industry to be able to lobby appropriately under those circumstances.
Well, too, I think New York is a similar situation politically to Massachusetts as well. I don't think it's a very hospitable environment to not tax, not implementing taxes. I think they want to tax, and they're very liberal. They want to have a lot of money for social programs, so they need to get the money from somewhere. So why not tax these damn vapors? And that's the way it's going to continue to go.
Fucking vapors.
Tax the horses. Tax the horses.
They're going to start taxing flat-brimmed hats soon.
Double-edged horse.
Double-edged horses.
I'm going to remind you guys real quickly here, we have one more little segment to go over. Well, not little, but we have one more segment to go over. But if you haven't hit that like button down there yet, please make sure you do that before we end the broadcast. And make sure you guys please share the replay once we get it up and posted in the Facebook group. Yeah. Appreciate that. So, yeah, the last thing we have to talk about is, what did I title it? When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong. Let's go over to this article real quick here. It's been great, mech mods, but it's time to say goodbye. I don't know which one of you guys posted this in the...
Guilty.
You? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I haven't read this yet, but I like mech mods, so I don't like this article already.
Me and you are going to
I don't have a problem with mech mods
either,
because I'm not much of a builder, but I don't have a problem with them if you know what you're doing. But first, let's just talk about it really quickly here. Let's not go to the article yet. Let's discuss what it is that we're going to be talking about. I'm not going to, we're not going to post a link to this guy's claims or his story, but I'm sure most everyone on here has seen this guy who was improperly using a mech mod with an improperly built coil and probably an improper battery, I think, as well. Anyway, it blew up in his face. knocked some of his teeth out, burned his face. And he was shocked about it and felt that it was, took the onus upon himself to warn everyone out there who might save their life from vaping and have a mod explode in their face. So
basically including mech mods into the entire gamut of devices that are available to smokers to switch to vaping.
Right. So because he fucked up, this potentially mankind changing product is all of a sudden a bad thing, and people should stop using it to get off of combustible tobacco. And I know, Nick, you had a long discussion on it in your video today. I checked it out really quickly.
I watched it while I was shaving today.
Oh, good.
And yeah, so if you guys have thoughts on, we haven't heard much from Nick and Matt lately, but I'm sure you guys do a lot of reviews. You know a lot about Ohm's law and how to use properly these products. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's you just have to know what you're doing. I mean, this is no different than any other situation in your life ever. I know how to drive a car, but I'm not going to jump in a Formula One race car and assume I know how to drive it. You kind of just have to know what you're doing. You have to know the warning signs.
If you were 19 years old, though.
Would I if I was 19 years old?
Yes, you would.
I don't know if I would.
Oh yeah, Formula One. Sure, I know how to drive a stick. I'll be fine.
I know how to drive a stick. Sure. I mean, you just have to know what you're doing. It's no big deal. Batteries, and Mooch can correct me if I'm wrong, but 18650 batteries like that, they take a while before they violently vent or violently explode or anything like that. It takes like 3 to 4 minutes for them to really, even with a hard short, before they explode like that. They'll get uncomfortably hot. I mean, so hot that you can't touch them. Then you'll see a lot of smoke. Then you'll see some liquids coming out. And this is all slowly over the course of about 3 minutes before they violently vent like that. And so if you know the first warning sign, I've vented batteries, and I'm not above saying that I've done that. But when you press a button and nothing happens and you feel your mod get hot, then you pull the batteries out of your mod and you stop that hard short from happening, and then they don't explode. I mean, there's a safe way to do this, and I don't think it's, say goodbye to mech mods. That's a dumb thing to say. Say goodbye to cars then as well, because they cause accidents. That's stupid.
I actually was talking to Mooch earlier this week, and I think I'm going to make a video on batteries as well, because it's become a thing where him and I are supposed to have a phone call tonight. But I think our community as a whole spends way too much time talking about what we shouldn't be doing. We shouldn't have 300 watt mods. We shouldn't have mech mods. And it's a bunch of people complaining about something that maybe they're right. Maybe it's not great for us, but you can't change it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's more of like, I'm not going to judge somebody for how they're going to vape. I think that that's their business. Hopefully that they're responsible about it. But we just spend way too much of our time complaining, and it's caused this rift that's been ongoing for a long time between the mouth to lung crowd and the cloud chasing crowd. And it's like, work on the things that you can change.
Well, I mean, you kind of see a correlation between some cities, especially liberal cities, who distribute clean needles to heroin addicts. And the reason behind that is they don't want to spread the epidemic of HIV.
Right.
Harm reduction.
It's a harm reduction, method. They're saying we realize, telling you stop doing heroin is not going to work, but at least if you're going to do it, don't spread HIV. And I think that if people had the knowledge and they want to use mech mods, there's nothing wrong with it at all. I used mech mods when I first started vaping because they were in fashion at the time, and I actually really liked it. Again, I didn't build. You can put one of these on a mech mod and it'll work okay. And even if you have a dripper or something, but I would ask, if I didn't know, I would ask someone who did know. Can you please show me how to build a mod? How do I get?
But
make sure
but here's the problem. Here's the problem I have, and I don't disagree with any of the points so far. What I disagree with is that the end user should know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I disagree with. I think it's wholly up to whoever sold the mod or the mod manufacturer to make sure that the person purchasing that mod understands what the potential dangers are and how to get around them. Period. Somebody goes into a store and buys a new flashlight that's has 10,000 lumens in it. They're just going to want that flashlight. Wow, that's really bright. Little do they know that if they put the battery in backwards the first time, the thing's going to blow up in their face. Are they going to know to ask that question? Will this blow up in my face? No, because they just want a flashlight. They don't care.
Definitely.
It's up to the manufacturer to put warning labels on these things. It's up to the person selling them to perhaps have a waiver that they have to sign, maybe some training that they have to go through, just a 10-minute training that they have to go through before they buy a mech mod. All these things could help prevent issues like this. It's too much to ask for the general public looking at something like a mech mod where you can stick a battery in there, perform a hard short with nothing more than a penny, and expect them to know exactly what's going on with Ohm's law and this and that. No, the general public doesn't know what Ohm's law is.
I don't disagree. I think that they should. Sorry, go ahead.
No, they don't know how to spell Ohm. So you can't expect the general public to know that this shit can blow up in their face. It's just a metal tube and it's a battery. How are they going to expect that this stuff is going to blow up in their face?
I would say if this guy was a new user, I would agree with you, but he'd been using it for a year.
But he'd been using it for a year under complete ignorance.
Right. So I think if you were to assign some negligence in how this incident did occur, part of it would go to the user and part of it would also go to the vape shop, who was continuing to let him use the product in ignorance. But the bottom line is,
unless we know the specific circumstances, we really can't comment on that, though. We don't know if the guy was going into that vape shop every day and talking to them and having conversations and just all the technical shit just went over his head or not.
Maybe they were.
Maybe they were. We don't know. That's why I recommend.
Here's the answer. There's any number of these on the market. They're called regulated devices. And if you're not completely sure about what you're doing with a vaping device, get yourself a regulated device, throw yourself a Nautilus on it, and you'll be fine. Yeah.
Well, I think the manufacturers could definitely do better. They could do a better job, putting a couple warnings or something in the packaging. But at the end of the day, I do think it is the end user's responsibility on what to do. We see that with other like knives. There's nothing in this knife that says don't flick it like this or you're going to cut yourself, and don't don't sharpen it the wrong way or you're going to cut yourself.
Right. I was listening to Nick's video today, and the first thing that came to my mind after listening to a few of his analogies was gun control. And I have a gun sitting on my desk at work, and while I'm watching the video, I see my gun sitting there, and I asked George, who works with me, I said, you know what that gun's going to do if I don't touch it? It's going to sit there for 1,000 years until it rusts away. It's the same exact thing. That inanimate object has no power over anyone or anything until a human being decides either to use it improperly.
But if my whole point is, if somebody looks at a shiny metal tube sitting on a desk that happens to have a battery in it, how are they to know that thing's dangerous? Obviously, common knowledge is that a gun can be dangerous.
Yeah. But even then, though, that wouldn't
teach our children, don't touch, walk away, tell an adult. There's no campaign like that for mods,
So what you're saying?
Like, even then, a lot of the stuff is happening with like batteries outside of mods anyway. People are putting them in their pockets and shit, and like.
Yeah, and I'm sure it happens all the time with 9 volts. I'm sure people are putting 9 volts in their pockets once in a while, and they're exploding. The problem is that there's no PR fight for 9 volts.
I think that our community could definitely do a better job as to trying to educate. YouTubers could talk about it more. The companies could put more warnings and stuff, but we're still going to. You can't fix stupid. We're still going to see it happening with some people.
No, absolutely. But we can lessen the damage, and it's in the individual vape shop's best interest to have a certain level of training, and to more importantly, if you're looking at your own, legal protection, it's more important to have some sort of release form that whenever you sell a mech mod, you have a a list of instructions and a sign and a place for the user to sign to say, I understand the potential risks involved. I won't do anything retarded
Yeah.
after I leave this shop.
Well, I guess we won't go back over to the article and read it. I'll post the link if anyone's curious about reading it because we only have about 5 minutes left. But basically, he's saying it's time for mech mods to fade away into the sunset, and there was a time and place for them, and there's not.
I don't agree with that. As a general statement, I'm a pretty hardcore libertarian. I think people should be allowed to buy what they want to buy. I just think it's responsible for vape shop owners and the community at large to make sure that these people are educated. Because they're not always going to seek out that education, and it's not always their fault that they don't. Because again, you're looking at a shiny metal tube.
I think education's great. What I don't like is when people talk about how they should not be vaping that way, and we need to be really careful that we're not turning into, some sort of nanny state that we don't like we don't like the FDA trying to push us around. And then we're pushing different, vapors around because this guy vapes at a couple 100 watts or this guy vapes at 5 watts because he's melts a lung. I mean, it's just.
I totally agree with that.
I agree with that too. And I think if you know what you're doing, by all means, God bless you. Get yourself a mech mod and vape away as long as you're not smoking cigarettes. But do it
safely. Except for hybrids, fuck those things.
Do it safely, educate yourself, make sure you know what you're doing before you give bad press to people out there who are trying to eradicate combustible tobacco. That's what I'm saying. Don't be stupid and don't put yourself in the news.
Yep.
Agreed.
And that's what it comes down to. Education is key in everything. And I don't think that we should be definitely telling people what they should or shouldn't vape or can or cannot vape. I just think that.
No, I agree. But I just think.
If you're a vape shop and you're irresponsibly selling a new user something that you haven't fully explained to them, just give them a regulated device, period.
It is so funny how much more that we like the news talks about e-cigs blowing up. When was the last time they talked about all the Samsung Galaxy Notes fucking blowing up on planes and shit? And there's thousands of those things that have fucking failed on people. And every single time anybody has an e-cig that blows up, it's groundbreaking.
Where are the 1,400 to 1,500 news stories every day about the people that died that day from combustible tobacco use over decades?
or drowning in their own pools.
Yeah,
I do, absolutely.
Always gets that segue.
Absolutely. Do. You know why? Because perspective is key. One guy almost blows some teeth out stuff. You know what? He didn't fucking die. There are people that can't breathe and are laying in a cancer ward dying. And we're going to talk about this jackass who doesn't know what he's doing and uses a mech mod the wrong way and blows up. I don't give a fuck about him or his mech mod blowing up in his face. I care about the people who are dying from cancer, dying from emphysema, dying from COPD. Could give a shit less about this guy, honestly.
Let's go fuck him up.
I think he got his already.
Let's go take his other 27 teeth.
Sorry, I got a little pumped there for a sec.
Well, and the problem is, not to continue this, but he has changed his story a couple of times. He's edited his post quite a bit, and there's a lot of misinformation as to what actually happened. I think his first post was I'm the victim. This happened without warning. I was doing everything right. And then he's changed it a bunch to...
Oh, it could have been maybe my fault. Now
it's kind of like, well, it happened, but really, we don't need to blame anybody. It's not anybody's fault, So
yeah, it is his fault. Educate yourself and know what you're going to use. My analogy on Facebook the other day was, I don't know how to fly planes, so I don't fly planes. And
right, or Formula One cars,
or two double-edged horses. I don't ride those either.
Double-edged horses. I've never ridden a double-edged Trojan horse.
All right. Well, we're about the end of our time for this week, guys. We appreciate you tuning in and watching, and ask you to please, if you haven't yet, I know there's more people that are watching than have hit that like button. So if you haven't, please make sure you hit that like button real quick before you check out. And we'll be back next week. It'll be 1 week into Trump era United States. Oh wow, my camera had some trouble focusing there, but it'll be 1 week into Trump's presidency, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen. And
Trumptopia.
I'm sure.
What
we'll
do you
cover
mean?
some of
What's
that.
going to happen? Obviously, America's going to be instantly great again.
Yeah, duh.
What do you
We're
mean?
gonna put big golden gates next to the Statue of Liberty to say Trump.
Yeah.
And we welcome
make
them.
the statue
Give
of
us your
Liberty.
tired, your poor, your English speaking.
Yeah, I mean, I think the world's going to be pretty much good a week from now. I mean,
Yeah. Fine.
we'll have it all. We'll have it all perfected.
One thing
Yeah.
that we haven't talked about, and we don't have time to talk about it now, but I want to throw it out there for something we can talk about in the future, is Trump's stance on China and how much that they import to the United States versus how much we export to them. As far as I'm aware, there aren't any major, hardware manufacturers like this anyway in the United States. 99% are in China.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I was going to say, with all his magic, he can make manufacturing stainless steel hardware much cheaper, right?
Yeah.
well, even if he
That's
does,
what you said.
it wasn't on the market before August 8th. So even if someone started a factory right now, it would be illegal. So anyway, that might be something we'll keep an eye on in the future. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Remember to smash that like button. Don't forget to share the link. Join our Facebook page. Just search for VCCLive on Facebook. You'll be able to find us. And quick shout out to Breathe Magazine. All of us are on it. We're getting it rolling. If you guys would like some advertising in it, make sure that you email me, brethmagazine@gmail.com. It's going to be a fire issue. It's looking to be really, really good. We've got a lot of great contributors. Hopefully we get Mooch in there to talk about battery safety, but I know he's a busy guy, so we'll have to see. But I think now more than ever, we need battery safety articles out there in vape shops so people can have a look at them and, not blow their face off and not give us a bad name. So, yeah. Any closing thoughts, Jay?
Go Pats.
Go Pats. Nick?
Go whoever is playing against the Pats.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Matt?
No, I hate Tom Brady too.
Hashtag fuck Tom Brady. All right.
It's going to be an interesting show next week, one way or the other.
Yeah.
Him and his stupid pretty face.
All right, guys. Well, appreciate you tuning in. Have a great weekend. Remember, you don't have to do everything. You do have to do something. Get involved.